heater did work, by the way. So that was...
The heater did work?
It was heated. It was not very cold, so...
Well, good.
Yeah. So, I think most people in here kind of know me, been friends, but here's just a little background on me. I grew up in church, like I know a lot of people here did. I went to VBS every time they had it. And whenever I was in 4th grade, I went to VBS and they gave me one of these sheets that said, it had 3 check boxes. The first one was, I don't know who Jesus is, but I want to learn more about him. The second one was, I'm ready to accept Jesus right now. And the third one was, I've already accepted Jesus and I'm good. So I thought to myself, like, what's going to like make me look the best? What's going to make people think good of me? And the third one was just a lie, so I couldn't do that one since that would have been bad. So I just went ahead and checked the second one, and then the VBS person got super excited. Was like, oh, okay. And then we went and did the sinner's prayer, the ABCs, you know. And then the next Sunday or the Sunday after that, I got baptized. And ever since then, it's always kind of haunted me, just like how I made that decision just out of the blue, not really thinking about it. But, so yeah. And even after I had like the pastor, my parents asked me specific questions like to see if they thought I actually like truly like got what it meant and truly believed, and everyone who asked me thought I did, thought I got it. So, but apparently I didn't. And then just randomly placed church invitations. I would always feel a call to go down, but I never did. And then I remember this one Falls Creek invitation was whenever I went the year before my senior year. Has anyone not been to Falls Creek in here? You can raise your hand, it's okay. Okay, that's okay. I'll just quickly explain. Whenever they give the invitation at Falls Creek, the preacher usually says about 2 or 3 times, this is the last chance I'm going to give for people to come down, for those people who aren't 100% sure on making decisions. Well, he had already said it 3 times, so I was like, God, if you really want me to go down there, if I'm really not saved, you will make the preacher guy say one more time to give an open invitation. Well, it happened, and then I was like, well, you know, that was just a coincidence. If it happens one more time, then I'm definitely going. And of course, it didn't happen again because I just didn't go. Because in my mind, I was thinking, you know, I said that ABC prayer, I'm good, just all of that. And let's see. One thing that kept me from going down, like, to make a decision every time was my pride. I always thought, you know, people are going to think, oh, what a horrible person. Like, people, like, kind of look up to him and just... Does anyone kind of know what I'm talking about? Nate? Thanks, Nate. But yeah, so that's one thing that always kept me from going down. I just thought people would think down on me. And even though I knew that wasn't true, it was just always in the back of my mind. Well, then last Wednesday, we were watching a video, and it just really got to me. It talked about how just because you say that prayer when you're a kid doesn't mean you're actually saved. You have to truly believe it. And he was talking out of Matthew 7, and he was just talking about good trees bear good fruit and bad trees bear bad fruit, and then it can't be the other way around. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. Like, I say, like, I'm a good tree, but my fruit is obviously bad. And I'll go ahead and read that part to you, because it really hit me hard. By their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus, by their fruit you will recognize them. And in the video, he was talking, Paul Washer was the pastor. I don't think I mentioned that. But he was talking just about, imagine Jesus saying, can thorn bushes bear fruit? And then the crowd's reaction would be, no, of course not. And then he said, can a fruit tree have thorns on it? And the crowd would answer, no, of course not. I mean, that's just common knowledge. And then he went on to say, well, how can my disciples bear bad fruit? And that's what really got me thinking. And then he just kept on going. And the next verse, starting with 21, it says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles? And I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, evildoers. And that's when that verse is when I really realized I knew who Jesus was. I knew the stories. I knew the miracles. But Jesus really didn't know who I was, because I never really took the time to talk to him, to read his word, to pray. And then after the church service, Nate and me had a pretty good conversation just about really just random Christian stuff. And then he asked me a question right before I got in my car. Nate, do you want to share that question?
Do you know Jesus? Does Jesus know you?
And my answer was, yeah. And then so I went to go work out, and then I re-listened to this sermon that we had just watched. And just throughout the whole sermon, I was just like shaking the whole time, in tears at some points. It just really hit me. And I decided that I wasn't going to care what anyone else thought about me, and I was just going to come out and say that I need Jesus. I did not know who Jesus was, but now I do. And the reaction from everyone is just like the reasonable action is like, oh, that's so good, that's awesome, and not the thing that I had in the back of my head was, oh, wow, you were a horrible person. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it?
Yeah.
Okay. Will you field some questions?
Yeah.
Anybody got a question? Okay. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, I'm going to press the microphone down.
That's fine. When you said what, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so if it's not right, stop me, right? One of the things I heard you say was that a good tree bears good fruit and a bad tree bears bad fruit, and you thought, oh no, right? Were you thinking particularly of bad fruit that you were bearing, or were you thinking there's no good fruit?
I mean, I wasn't like a horrible person or anything.
No, I get it.
But like, just things like reading my Bible, praying. Like if I would have like said to myself within, like this is last week, within the past 6 months, if I read my Bible once, it would have been a lie. Just stuff like that, like things that if you truly believe that Jesus died, that you will be doing.
Okay. Like
Stuff
reading
like,
your Bible,
yeah.
praying, those kind of things. Even though you were faithful to come to church all
Yeah.
the time, or most all the time.
Yeah.
Did you ever from 4th grade until what? Now you're 21, 20? 19. From 4th grade to 19, like when you went to Falls Creek or when you went to church camp, did you ever have spurts where you told God, okay, I'm going to do better. I'm going to read my Bible. I'm going to do this?
Yeah, and it lasted for, most people will say like the spiritual high lasts for like a week, 2 weeks. It lasted like the day I got back, and that was about it.
Okay.
And I didn't mention this, but one thing that Paul Washer had said is things from God last, and that false conversion from 4th grade didn't last any time.
And you've known it for a long time.
Yeah, it's always been in the back of my head, but I've always like talked myself out of it with the pride issue, and then the I said the prayer, I'm good issue.
Okay.
Just like, yeah.
So you tried to convince yourself that you
Yeah.
said the prayer so you were good, but you knew that the Spirit of God was talking to you saying you're really not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you just kind of fought against that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then another thing he said, I'm just like thinking about stuff
Oh, that's
now.
cool.
Was this was probably my favorite line of the whole sermon. It said, he was just like, if I was late tonight, the people who like hired me to do this would be like, why are you late? Like, you had this great opportunity and you're late. He said, and I would tell him that I got a flat tire on the way, I was changing it, a lug nut fell loose and it went onto the road. I wasn't paying attention, so I just ran after it. I picked it up, looked up, and a logging truck was coming at me, 80 miles an hour, and that's why I'm late. And it hit me. That's why I'm late. And then his coordinators would say, like, you're lying because, I mean, you're fine. You're the exact same you were, or you're just crazy. And he was like, which is bigger, a logging truck or God? And God's the answer. So if you have that real conversion, there will be a big significant change in your life, just because of how big God is and how much He is doing for you.
Okay. So what is your big change? How has God changed you in the last 4 days?
I would say just like things like reading my Bible, praying, have been, not only have I wanted to do them, because I always like wanted to do it, but I just never got around to it, even though I have all the time in the world. But I want to, and like I just do it. I don't know. And I mean, I would say that's pretty much it. Just that change in itself I've already learned like a lot just from these past 4 days of reading the Bible.
So it's been a hungering and thirsting after God and the things of God that has changed.
Yeah.
That now you actually have that, and you don't just have to pretend like you have that.
Yeah.
Now, are you looking forward to like starting the new semester? Like, are you wanting to share with others what has happened this summer?
Yeah.
What did you do different? What did you do different when you were having this talk with God after Nathan asked you this question and after you listened to the sermon again, than when you recited the prayer in 4th grade?
What was different? I wasn't just doing it to like make myself look good. I was doing it because I actually like knew what I should do.
Okay. Has anybody had a similar experience? Yeah, Caden's nodding your head. You have? Chris, you raised your hand, you have? I have. I did too. My testimony's almost exactly the same, except we didn't do cards when I was in vacation Bible school. Back then it was everybody raise your hand or whatever it was. And then I didn't really. So I can relate to your story exactly. Well, you were being baptized. The guy sitting in front of me turned around and said, well, he's a lot younger than I was. When I finally got it, I was 30. So it's I think a lot of the reason that you don't feel the condemnation of people, like, oh, you lied to us for 19 years or whatever, is that there's so many people that have the same experience. So many people that grow up in church, or they hear the good news of the gospel, and honestly, who wouldn't rather have heaven? Right? So we consciously make a decision to choose Jesus or whatever, without really knowing what we're doing, without I mean, we actually make the decision instead of Christ calling us. I mean, did you feel Christ calling you to make?
Yeah.
And the decision was face your fears, come forward, get some courage,
Yeah.
tell the truth.
Yeah.
That was the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the way it was with me too.